What's up, my friends? How are you? My name is Josh. I'm your push coach, and I'm really excited because my podcast has been on a hiatus. Is that how you say that word? I don't know how to say that word. I don't know how to spell that word. I don't know how to say that word for a while now. It started off as like a little bit of a summer break, just like trying to enjoy more time with family and focus on the parts of business that really move things forward. I'm really big on focused time and energy and doing the most important things. So in busy seasons like summer, obviously I'm a work from home dad. When all the kids are home, like I want to be there for them as much as I can. And then for those that follow me on social media, you know my youngest son, Paxton, went through another open heart surgery at the beginning of this year. So that was obviously taking up a lot of time and energy. We were in and out of the hospital for like 2 months. But I'm back and I'm excited because today we're gonna talk about something that I recorded a YouTube video for this that you can search if you really want to have a good laugh at my expense. Like my first or second year in business, about personality types. And here's why, because one of the things that you have to be aware of if you want to grow your business and or you want to lead people. And most people that I'm working with are in the network marketing space where you got to do both. You have to be able to lead yourself and you have to be able to lead other people. If you don't understand the differences, like there are so many different things that separate all of us. Like we have, as humans, we have a shared experience, okay? We really do have a shared experience when it comes to our struggles, when it comes to the things that we're going through, but we have different words and feelings and ways that we process and deal with things, okay? So I was literally just talking on a team call right before this and was talking about the personality types and how if you're not careful, if you're one personality type leading a bunch of other people that are a different personality type, especially the opposite, you can accidentally trigger people when you thought you were motivating them because the thing that excited you actually triggers them. It's the same with sales. If you're trying to sell someone and you're using your own language instead of their language, you can accidentally scare someone away instead of inviting them in. So today I want to teach you, I'm going to try to keep this to 10 or 15 minutes, the most simple personality type that I've ever learned in my entire life. I literally learned this at some stupid meeting that my boss made me go to when I was detailing cars. And apparently it was so good that even though I wasn't paying attention, I remembered it several years later. Now, I also, being trained by John Maxwell, got to learn the DISC personality types from the guy who created the DISC, D-I-S-C personality types, walked us through this elaborate workshop in person that was really cool. And what I realized was the animal types I had learned in the DISC were actually the same thing, just different verbiage. And the animals are so much easier to remember. So that's what I'm going to teach you on today. If you want like a really fun lesson, you can go to my Instagram. I did a reel last week where I literally put on some of my wife's costume wigs and I acted out the different personality types sending business invites. You should go watch that because it's pretty hilarious. Okay. So we're going to walk through these one at a time. I'm going to give you the animal. I'm also going to go ahead and give you what it would be on the DISC because you can go on Google and you can literally search free DISC personality test and you can find a letter and then bring that letter back to this podcast and find out based on that letter which animal you are, which will just make it easier to remember, okay? The Enneagram is probably my favorite for like doing a really deep dive on yourself. However, 9 numbers is a lot to try to remember when you're leading other people. So here is the animal personalities. We've got, first of all, the Rhino. Now, the Rhino is the D on the DISC, which stands for dominant. And the Rhino is like, join me or get out of my way. Like, I am on a mission. I'm going somewhere. I'm going to accomplish something. And if you want to join me, great. I'm happy to have you. But if you don't want to join me, I'm going anyways. Okay. The D is honestly what I see as like, we as a society call them the natural leader, which really doesn't make sense. As I explain this more, you'll understand what I mean by this. We call them the natural leader because they are that kind of like in your face, take action, self-motivated person. They do not need a cheerleader. They do not need accountability until they get to a level where they've climbed so many mountains that they grow stagnant. A lot of the rhinos will give me a call when they've hit several goals and they find themselves just kind of like complacent and needing like another push in their life. But the strengths of the rhino, okay? So every single personality, doesn't matter who you are, we have strengths, we have weaknesses. And usually the thing that is our greatest strength is also our greatest weakness. So for the rhino, their greatest strength is that they can move forward, they can take action without any extra hype, without anybody telling them that they have to, like they will just find a way to get it done. Now, the weakness to the rhino is that they are usually really terrible listeners, and they tend to assume that everybody else should be able to do things without any motivation, without any accountability. In other words, they're like, listen, it's easy for me, it should be easy for you. And rhinos tend to accidentally project onto other people. A lot of people project their weaknesses, they project their strengths, and then get mad at people for not being the same as them. So rhinos tend to be very, very like unaware of other people's feelings, of other people's thoughts. Like they're kind of like in their own zone and in their own lane, which is great for personal performance. But if I'm being honest, actually sometimes makes them not natural leaders. I would say it makes them the opposite. It would make them very natural, like not so good leaders, because they are the person who is least likely to consider what someone else is going through. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's move on to the next one, which is the peacock. They are the eye on the disc. Okay, so the eye on the disc stands for the inspirational, I believe. The peacock, they are like the extrovert of extroverts. They want to be in the spotlight. If it's karaoke night, they're the first one to grab the microphone. They're the first one to buy everybody shots to try to get the party going. Like they just love the spotlight. They absolutely love to like have, whereas the rhino needs like a goal. Like the goal is we need to perform, we need to produce. The peacock is more about the experience. Like we need to have fun. We need to make memories. We need to have something to tell a story about, right? So it's very, very, very important that we understand how we are wired, but also how other people are wired. If you are a rhino trying to motivate a peacock, you're going to have to find a way to make things fun. You're gonna have to give them some prizes to win. You're gonna have to give them some fun t-shirts to go after. So like we have to understand that we are all wired differently. This gives us different strengths, different weaknesses. The peacock is incredible on stage. Their biggest weakness is they're like very scatterbrained. Very creative, scatterbrained people who love to make 5,000 reels and 5,000 Canva graphics, but will sometimes leave their DMs like unchecked for weeks and like never actually do any of the day-to-day tasks that are necessary. Okay, so I'm actually a very high peacock, which makes me good on stage, makes me a great performer. I really had to learn in year 2 of my business that it's not enough to just be high energy. Like we got to have some focus. We got to have some stability. We got to have some discipline. Okay. Next on the list is the S on the disc. This is the golden retriever. The golden retriever absolutely loves to be a part of everything. They want to be there. They are so misunderstood because everyone thinks they're introverts because they're quiet. The reality is they are quiet extroverts. Okay. So introvert or extrovert isn't about your energy level. It's about how you're recharged and what you enjoy the most. So actually the rhino people think is an extrovert because they're high energy, but the reality is they're high energy and task oriented. They're not people oriented. So rhinos are confusingly introverts. They're just loud introverts. On the opposite side of the spectrum is the golden retriever, who is the quiet extrovert. Does that make sense? So often we think golden retrievers are shy. We think they're quiet. We think they're introverts. The reality is they love to be a part of whatever is going on. They're very mission driven. They're very community driven. They literally make up 80% of the network marketing industry because the network marketing speaks to like, let's do it together. Okay. So golden retrievers are very, very, very drawn to the idea of doing something together. Okay. Their strength is that they're loyal. They're committed. They would do just about anything for the team. Their weakness is, unfortunately, while they love to show up for the team, their biggest weakness is they're not very good at showing up for themselves. So the golden retriever really needs a community goal, a team challenge. They need to feel like they can show up for the sake of not letting others down, okay? Their weakness is they won't do it for themselves. But if you're aware of that, as a leader, you can get really good at coming up with team goals, team challenges, where it doesn't fully rest on them. It just simply includes them, okay? The fourth personality is the C. Okay, so the C is conscientious. I call them the owl. And the owl is very detail oriented. Everything is on a spreadsheet. Everything is color coded. Whereas the peacock is a little ADD, the owl is a little OCD. Okay, so like the owl needs everything to have a rhyme and needs to have a reason. The owl is the true introvert. Okay, so they are a low energy, and they're task oriented. So they're the energy of a golden retriever with more of the task mindedness of the rhino. They don't want to be on stage. They want to be behind the computer. Okay. Owls make for really, really, really good coordinators. Okay. So like if you are leading a challenge or leading a training or something, the owl is the person you want to team up with to create the PDFs, to create whatever trackers need to be done. They're not creative. They're not going to create the Canva graphics. That's your peacock. Okay. But they're going to create all of the systems on the back end so that you can have something that's duplicatable. Their superpower is creating systems. However, their weakness is because they are low energy and task oriented, they are not great at including other people. They're also not usually very great at communicating with other people because their brain is almost, like, I don't know if you've ever met someone that's like so smart, they don't know how to communicate with others. That's kind of the owl. They are so into the details that they forget that there needs to be a vision and an energy and an excitement. So the owl's superpower is that they can create the systems, but their weakness is they're not great at communicating the vision of why the systems are even necessary. Okay, so that's the 4 different animal types. Now, this is a really fun little thing. Every single one of us has a primary and a secondary. Your primary is who you are in social settings. Your secondary is who you are under stress. So as an example, I'm a peacock, rhino. And what that means is if you catch me off the clock in a social setting, I'm all peacock. I have no goals. I have no task in mind. We're just out to have a good time. However, the second I'm put under stress, so business brings out the rhino in me. Okay. It's kind of a cool combination because I have the energy of the peacock, but if I work hard, and it does take some work, I can lean into the focus of the rhino. So almost all of us have these 2 different things. And I think this is like God's gift to us to be like, here's your natural wiring, but don't worry. You have the secondary wiring to help pick up some of the slack for the weaknesses that your primary brings to you. So I do go into depth about this in my F leadership book that I give away for free on my website. But I love, first of all, for you to go to my Instagram, check out the reel that I did. It'll be easy. You'll scroll through and see Josh in a wig. I'd love for you to watch that. And I'd love for you to tell me which personality type you are, because here's what I have found is there are 2 sides of this coin. On one hand, I need to fully own and embrace who I am. Okay. I believe that we're all put here for a reason, and who you are is valuable and powerful exactly how you are. And we need to be aware of the weaknesses that creates. So real quick, rhinos really, 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 really need to learn how to become better listeners. Okay. This is one of the reasons I kind of low key force top leaders who work with me to go through my leadership certification so that they can learn how to be better listeners and empathizers. Okay. The peacocks need to learn that there is a time for fun, but it's not all the time. If we want to grow a business, there are some things we got to do that aren't sexy, that aren't funny, that aren't shiny objects. Okay. The golden retriever has got to understand, if I really don't want to let my team down, I need to learn how to embrace some of the spotlight, because I'm not going to build a personal brand without having a little bit of spotlight. So even though you hate the spotlight, you're going to have to learn to evolve into it. And the owls have got to learn how to become more vision-minded. Owls are very, very like, give me the simple checklist. They've got to learn vision, because checklists don't inspire others. Okay. They do train others, and they do help others, and they do, like, literally empower others, but they don't inspire. So all of us at our very best meet somewhere in the middle. Okay. The golden retrievers learn to have a little more rhino. The peacocks learn to have a little bit more owl. The owls learn to have a little bit more peacock. So the rhinos and the golden retrievers are polar opposites, and then the owls and peacocks are polar opposites. You never, ever, ever want to try to force yourself to become your opposite. That's very dangerous, but you need to learn to embrace a little bit of it. Okay. Again, go to my Instagram, Josh Coates Push Coach. Find the reel where I'm wearing a wig and having a good time. And I'd love to hear from you which personality type you are. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I hope this helped. If you liked this, let me know, and I can put out some more stuff about the personality types. I'm going to be experimenting with some reels on this, because I know it's just a really fun, it's a fun way to learn more about yourself. Not everything that helps you learn about yourself is fun. This, I feel like the animal types makes it like kind of gamifies learning about yourself. So love you all so much. Believe in you so much. Please make sure and tag me in your stories on Facebook or Instagram. Let me know where you're listening to this so that I can reshare this. Have an absolutely amazing day. And do not forget to grab my brand new book, 6 Months to 6 Figures. We just released this, I believe in February, end of February, beginning of March. Hit number 1 in 7 different categories. I've got 7 different co-authors that joined me on this project. You can get your free copy at joshcoates.com along with the audiobook. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you all soon.